Alright everyone, and we return once more to another go at Fate's Stay. No guy could stay calm this close to her, and I'm certainly no exception.
シロ、気のせいでしょうか。先ほどより顔色が悪くなってきた気がするのですが。
そんなことない。動揺なんてしてないぞ、こっちは。
それならいいのですが、やはり横になった方がいいのでしょうか。この辺りで休めるところと言ったら。
Saber looks around. Oh, what the? What are the odds of there just being some random dude lying across a nearby bench using his girlfriend's lap as a pillow in a park that's usually deserted? And Saber glances at the pair of lovebirds. She's obviously thinking.
シロ、気分が悪いのでしたら横に。
大丈夫、おとなしくしてればすぐに落ち着くから。余計な心配はしなくていい。しなくていいから当分ほっといてくれ。
That doesn't mean he wasn't thinking about it though. I turn away from Saber and close my eyes. Anything to keep our eyes from locking. Think calming thoughts, Shiro. Now I just have to keep taking deep breaths and try not to think about Saber being right next to me. It took a night for the fire to die down. The searing, roaring red wall eventually disappeared. All that remained was a charred field, strewn with smoldering blackened lumber. I remember that while I lay there on the ground, the sound of it reminded me of sparklers. The sky was getting cloudy. It should rain soon. That'll help put out the fires. I could hardly even breathe as I lay there, staring dazedly at the sky. Charred remains hemmed me on all sides. Burns cover almost my entire body, and there's an especially painful sensation around my chest. My chest is gouged out. I could probably touch my own insides. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't collapse because I got tired. It's not that my numb body was trying to do me a favor by letting me rest. I collapsed because I was much too hurt to keep moving at all. That's why I ended up just accepting it, calmly, no panic. I knew I wasn't gonna make it. Everyone else was already dead anyway, so I wasn't scared. Staring up at the cloudy sky, I felt myself just sort of fading away. Yet, in the haze of fading consciousness, I decided that as long as I was alive, I'd try calling for help, right till the end. Huh? Wait, something's off. I shouldn't be remembering this pain in my chest. I jerked myself upright and tugged my shirt open to check myself over.
だよな。傷なんてないし。
There's no scar on my chest. The respiratory distress that burn caused did almost kill me, but I didn't take some massive chest wound. If something like that had happened, even Kiritsugu wouldn't have been able to help me. But more importantly...
夜になってる。俺寝ちまってたのか、セイバー。
はい。よく眠っているようでしたので起こしませんでしたが、その会話あったようですね。先ほどに比べて、シロの顔色は良くなっていますから。
人が悪いな。居眠りした俺が悪いにしても、起こしてくれてもよかったじゃないか。休んでいる暇はないって言っただろ。
休息は必要な行為です。それにシロが眠っていたのは、1時間程度ですから、そう問題はないでしょう。
そりゃ結果論だ。俺が起きなかったらどうするつもりだったんだよ、一体。
そうですね。あまり変わりはないでしょう。日が落ちて寒くなってきましたから、そろそろ声をかけようと思っていたところです。
まあ、確かに体の調子はすごくいいけど。
I get up from the bench and start walking through the field. There's no trace of what this field once looked like. No trace of when it used to be a residential district, nor any trace of when it was cast in that hellish red light. But for some reason, I'm irritated that I dreamed that scene just because I slept here.
シロ、何か問題でもあるのですか？
ああ、いや、 どうせ休むなら別の場所にするべきだったなって。ここはどうも嫌な思い出がありすぎる。
嫌な思い出。シロはこの場所に縁があったのですか？
そっか。話してなかったっけ？俺、昔はこの辺りに住んでたんだ。10年前の話だけどな。大きな火事が起きて、両親も家も焼け落ちた。その時に、親父に助けられて、そのまま養子になったんだよ。
では、あなたは？
ああ、キリツグの実の子供ってわけじゃない。それに、聖杯戦争と無関係ってわけでもないのかな。ここが前回の戦いの最後の場所だってのは聞いてるよ。そこで生き残った俺がマスターになるんだから、皮肉というか縁があるっていうか。
I walked through the field. It's been 10 years, but it still seems like the ground hasn't recovered enough for even grass to grow. Maybe all the resentment of the people who died here seeped into the land itself.
シロ、あなたが犠牲者を出すまいとするのはそれが理由ですか？あなた自身が聖杯戦争の犠牲者だからこそ自分のような犠牲者は出したくないと。
いや、それは。
I mean, it's part of it. Now that you mentioned it, I guess I can see people coming to that conclusion. Surprisingly, I've never thought about it like that.
どうだろう。セイバーの言うことはもっともだけど、俺はもっと単純だと思うよ。
More of a wish from a father.
10年前さ、ここでキリツグに助けられた時はただ嬉しかった。それ以外になかったから、自分もそうなれたらいいと憧れたんじゃないかな。
Yeah, I was just happy. Words can't even begin to describe what I felt when I called out for help and actually got it. But at the same time, the happier I was, the more guilty I felt.
けど、自分だけ願いが叶えられたってのは居心地が悪かった。俺は親父に助けられたけど、他の人たちは助けられずにずっとこのままだ。
Everyone wished for salvation, but my only wish was granted. Only I was saved. And in exchange, everyone else died. And that's why I have to take responsibility.
けどまあ、起きてしまったことは戻しようがないからな。死んでいった人たちに報いたいなら、せめてこれからのことを防ぐべきだ。10年前のような惨事は起こさせない。またあんなことになったら、それこそ犠牲になった人たちに合わせる顔がないだろう。まあ、俺の理由なんてその程度のものだと思う。
More importantly, we need to get back to looking for Shinji. I feel better now, and we need to hurry up and check the buildings we haven't gone to yet. Besides, there should be fewer people around that night. If Shinji wants to attack us, this would be the time. So if our plan is to be bait to lure him out, it's time to get to it.
行こうか、セイバー。とりあえずオフィス街に戻ろう。セイバー、どうした？忘れ物でもあるのか？
いいえ、ただ今朝のことを思い出していました。体の傷を治してからライダーのマスターを探すべきだと言った私に、シローは順番が違うと言いました。シローは昨日も同じ言葉を口にした。以前から感じてはいましたが、その時に確信したのです。あなたには自分を助けようとする気がないのだと。
It's like she just stares at me and lays it out, like it's a sin or something.
あなたは自身より他人を優先している。それは立派ですが、それではあなたはいつかきっと後悔する。シローはもっと自分を大切にするべきだ。
Saber cuts past me.
行きましょう。確かにここにいてはあなたに負担をかける。
Saber heads towards the office district. I try to call out to her, but I can't stop her.
何を？
Are you saying? That's what I want to ask her, but the words just won't come. There's no way I'm not trying to help myself. That can't be true. But I somehow can't think of a single thing to say to argue with her. We make our way to the town after dark. It's a little past 8. The station is at its most crowded hour, and Saber and I stare at the map of the town.
主だった建物は回りましたね。他に行くべき場所はありますか？
そうだな。少し離れたところに工場がある。あそこも人が集まる場所だから調べておかないと。まあ、工場っていうのはシンジの趣味じゃないと思うんだが。
We do make conversation now, but it's still hard for me to look Saber in the eye. I think our conversation from earlier is still stuck in my head. Saber's acting like it didn't happen, which bothers me even more.
そういうセイバーの方はどうだ？ライダーの気配はつかめるか？
いいえ、感じません。彼女とは一度戦っていますから、近くにいれば知覚できるのですが。
An odd feeling prickles my skin. Even I can feel the wave of magical energy that washes over us. There's no way that Saber can't.
シロ、言うまでもないと思うのですが。
分かってる。近くにいるのか、セイバ
ー。いいえ、まだそこまでの距離ではないようです。ですが、確実に見られている。この魔力は私たちに対する挑発でしょう。
If we're being watched, that means they've fallen into our trap. Releasing so much magical energy is an obvious attempt to lure us out.
で、この気配、ライダーなのか。
My mind changes gears. The awkwardness between Saber and me earlier disappears.
魔力をたどります。注意してください、マスター。
I nod. The wave of bloodlust I feel stinging at my skin is coming from the direction of the office district as it slowly empties of people. Today of all days, maybe there'll be nobody working overtime. Most of the lights in the windows of the buildings seen as the heart of Shinto are dark. There aren't many people on the sidewalks, and we have a pretty clear view of the building. I don't see anyone suspicious. If Shinji is anywhere, he'll be up ahead, maybe in the park we just left. I feel the bloodlust growing more intense. The enemy's nearby. Or more like... A chill runs up my spine. If even I can feel this aura of bloodlust, then we're probably already in enemy territory.
気をつけろ。何か変だ。
ええ、シローの感覚は正しい。このように人目のある場所で仕掛けてくるとは思いませんが、相手が相手です。用心に越したことはありません。
You read my mind. We both nod in silent agreement and make our way toward the park. It's probably best to ignore the oppressive sense of knife being pressed to my throat. Shinji and Ryder are nowhere around the office district. If they're going to attack, it's probably going to be somewhere in the park, where there won't be anyone else around.
シロー。
セイバー。
I turn towards Saber. She rushes towards me like a bolt of lightning. And blocks a blow aimed straight at my head. I look up. A massive building towers overhead. Clinging to the side of that building like some kind of spider is Ryder. Her hair is long enough to cover her entire body, her limbs supple and white. The masked woman is indeed our enemy. Ryder. She licks her lips as she stares down at me. The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. There's no mistaking it. She came spiraling down from the top of the building, aiming to take my head in a sneak attack from our blind spot. Clever move, too. Saber lands on the ground. In the time it took for her to rush in to block Ryder's attack, Saber summoned their armor.
セイバー、あいつは。
追います。シローはここにいてください。
追うって、どうやって？
Saber kicks off from the ground. She disappears into the sky with a glint of silvery armor. Ryder clinging to the side of the building like that is absurd enough, but Saber leaping skyward in pursuit of her is just outright ridiculous. No, they're servants. Normal logic doesn't apply here. Like Ryder, Saber moves along the side of the building, striking at her with dizzying speed. The two shadows clash and cross against each other. The sight of the two of them fighting over her head, darting along the building as they climb in the air, is like watching two fighter jets. All the while, I wait here. I need to follow Saber. Listen, if you're gonna give me a choice to leave Saber behind or to follow, I'm gonna follow. Follow Saber. Now, pronto. I can't just watch and do nothing. Excuse me. The uneven footing prevents Saber from gaining ground on Ryder. The two clash in the air, rushing up to the rooftop. If Ryder came flying down from the top of the building, chances are Shinji's there. We have two possible ways to win our fight against Ryder. Either we defeat her directly, or we defeat her master. But whichever it is, it has to be before she deploys her noble phantasm. While Saber's fighting Ryder, there's only one thing I should be doing. Interlude. The two shadows climb upwards. They continue to distance themselves from the ground, gaining more and more altitude. Neither needs proper footing. They just kick their way up along the wall. As it happens, they clash countless times all before they ever reach the top. For anyone watching from the ground, they'd probably think they were seeing a game of pinball. Though I doubt they'll be able to follow the two with the naked eye. It's like a deadly circus act. The collisions are barely discernible, invisible to normal human beings. Saber had no desire to be a part of this crazy circus act. She may be a servant, but she can't fly to the sky. She might be able to run up along the building's wall, but that's it. This is no better than a free fall for her. She alternates between kicking off from the building before she loses momentum and slowing to let gravity take hold of her. It may be no exaggeration to say she's falling into the sky. Now that she started, she'll continue all the way up to the rooftop. And in that entire journey, if her opponent hits her, she'd be hurled to the ground. But it seems that laws of gravity do not apply to the enemy, to the opponent Saber has to defeat. The streak of purple shoots across the side of the building in pursuit of Saber, while Saber focuses on reaching the roof. Gravity has no hold on Ryder. She leaps around effortlessly, moving in and from all directions, up, down, left, right, to strike at Saber. Her long hair trails out behind her like a comet tail, and she looks like a snake wrapping itself around a log. Saber's feet touch the wall. She leans sideways and kicks the wall, aiming for the edge of the building. Saber suddenly shoots out at the right angle to her previous trajectory. Now one of the attacks finds its mark. Ryder is simply no match for Saber's raw power. Saber shakes Ryder off with a single kick, then kicks upward once again when she reaches the building's side. She aims herself upward. If Ryder's like a serpent coiling around the building, Saber is like a bursting spark. But it looks like Ryder might have predicted her moves. The distance between them remains the same. Ryder continues along the side of the building, not letting Saber open any distance between them. She strikes every time Saber has to take a step. Saber fends Ryder off with her blade and jumps to put some space between them. Though she's able to fend off Ryder's coiling pursuit, there's only so much she can do in the air. Where before there had been no contest in their combat ability, they are now more evenly matched. Neither has an attack that can bring this to a close. No, Ryder is withholding her own deadliest attack. Every time Saber leaps at Ryder fends off her attack but never counterattacks. Ryder is only keeping Saber at bay as she makes her way to the rooftop.
戦う気がないのですか、ライダー。
Saber curses at her cowardly enemy. To a knight like Saber, a fight like this is as good as an insult. Such a thing should involve both opponents giving their all in their clash. By that belief, Ryder's actions are disrespectful.
高いところは苦手のようですね、セイバー。
Ryder's voice is cool. She's right. Saber is clearly not used to fighting in the air. This is probably a first for her, actually. Knights are meant to fight on solid ground. They're not supposed to cling to walls like her opponent.
自慢の剣もここでは刀しでしょう。けど安心なさい。もうじき楽にしてあげるから。
Ryder moves upward, her manner inviting. She set this whole thing up. Saber understands that though. At the end of this circus, yes, Ryder's ideal positioning must be waiting up above. Ryder can't use her trump card so readily, which is why she's luring her prey to a place there will be no interruption so they can settle this with her ultimate attack. As soon as she reaches the roof, she'll be in a difficult position. If Ryder's Noble Phantasm is exactly what Saber thinks it is, she won't have any defense against it. But there's no turning back now. We just can't ignore Ryder or her master. This isn't about defending an enemy in the Holy Grail War. Saber must defeat Ryder here and now to protect her master. Because she has no other choice. This whole situation must be absolutely dumbfounding for her. She's probably thought more than once about not wanting to push her master to do anything crazy. The two continue gaining altitude. The rapid clashes ring out across the building as the battle approaches its final destination. What new servant data was added? Ryder? Alright, we got that. No hero info. Noble Phantasm. No. Divinity E. Has Divine Spirit aptitude, but most of it has degenerated. Every time the heroic spirit's rank as a beast or demon increases, this decreases. Oh, okay. I rush up the stairs while I complain. I manage to enter the building from the back, but the elevator doesn't go all the way to the roof. I have to run up the remaining 10 flights of stairs. God, man. To run up all those floors. I climb the stairs as fast as I can. I'm not sure how long it's been since Saber and I split up. Probably less than 10 minutes, but that's too long. You never know how or when a battle will end. Even Saber's not perfect. She could make a mistake and get into trouble. So before that happens, if I can make Shinji use up his command spells, Ryder might stop fighting. The harder I run, the more my still healing body aches. Sprinting around the building then up the stairs has left me out of breath. But I don't slow down. No, I speed up. Something about this has me worried. I'm not sure why, but my chest hurts. It's not a physical pain. Something is warning me of danger ahead. Saber can't win. There's something on this rooftop that shouldn't be faced. I try to shake this feeling off and focus on climbing the stairs. The wind is strong. The moment I open the door, the city's nightscape fills my field of vision. Scorch marks pox the concrete. And at its center, at the heart of the burned, scarred rooftop, Saber is on her knees.
Saber!
Shiro, どうしてここに?
Saber's shoulders heave with her labored breathing. The moment I rush to her, I notice something strange floating up above me. Or rather, the sheer overwhelming amount of magical energy forces me to take notice. I look up towards the sky. Flapping wings. I hear flapping wings. Something, a paler and more blinding white than the light of the moon, hovers over me. Pegasus! It is a legendary mystic I've only heard about in myth. The moment she reaches the rooftop, Saber confronts her opponent's true form. Saber leans on her sword, exhausted, and looks up. The white light rushes toward her. Saber unleashes the wind that shrouds her sword, using it to create an invisible barrier. She goes flying backward. Her attempt to block the onrushing Pegasus fails to even slow it down. The force of the impact knocks Saber back, slamming her brutally into the ground. There's no time to be lying down. Pegasus turns mid-air and resumes to glide without so much as pausing. She can't possibly brace herself. Her only option is to try to evade. Even if she manages that, after effects of the passage will chip away at her defenses. If this keeps up, it will hit her eventually. The white light streaks down toward her. Pegasus sails far overhead and knocks Saber backward before sweeping back into the skies. Saber can't possibly reach it. There are no walls she can kick off. Not up here. Even if she could, there's no way she could actually reach Pegasus. Despite her disadvantage, Saber waits for an opportunity to fight back. Pegasus it may be, but it's a living creature, so she should still be able to kill it if she can just get a chance. Her only opportunity for victory is if Ryder makes a mistake at the reins. Excuse me.
驚きました。見かけによらず頑丈ですね。あなたは。
Ryder's voice comes from high above. Saber grips her sword tightly as she looks up.
ですが、それに意味はありますか？あなたには勝ち目などない。散るしかないのなら、潔く消えなさい。
Ryder's voice is calm. Even so, I hear just the slightest bit of joy in it.
幻想種だとは睨んでいましたが、まさかそんなものを持ち出してくるとは思いませんでした。ライダー。
A phantasmal species. As the name suggests, it refers to creatures which exist within an illusion. Humanoids like fairies and giants. Demonic creatures like Oni and dragons. If they are considered mystics, that alone makes them superior to magecraft. It's the law of nature for mystics to be destroyed by other stronger mystics. In the same way magecraft grows in power with knowledge, phantasmal species accumulate power from their longevity. Even if a human masters magecraft, the most they can accumulate is above 500 years worth of it. Take a species that's lived since ancient times. There's just no contest between that and a mystic that's only 500 years old. But it's been a long time since humans and phantasmals existed in the same world. The longer the phantasmal has lived, the further it's distanced itself from this world. The only phantasmal species in the modern world are a scant few hundred years old. So Saber expected the phantasmal rider as her mount to be only a few hundred years old.
信頼のものを持ち出すとは、随分と業が深いようですね、ライダー。ええ。私はあなたたちとは違う。むしろ、あなたたちの敵だったものに過ぎない。故に私が操るのはあなたたちが駆逐してきたかわいそうな子たちだけよ。なるほど。歪んでいるとは思いましたが、英霊ではなく悪鬼の類でしたか、あなたは。せいぜい呪いなさい。あなたでは私の子に触れることさえできないのだから。
The Pegasus rests its wings in the air. It's a giant arrow aimed at Saber's heart, ready to fire at a moment's notice. She glares at the creature and thinks. Pegasus itself is not a powerful phantasmal species. A typical Pegasus is just a phantasmal that can only match a demonic beast in power. Were that the case, it would be easy to defeat with Saber's invisible air alone. But it isn't the case. That Pegasus has existed since the Age of Gods, and has long since reached the level of phantasmal. The horse is nearing the level of the dragon race, considered to be the strongest of all phantasmals. At the very least, its defenses are probably already at the level of a dragon race. Since Pegasus possesses divine protection that exceeds even Saber's, whose magic resistance is unparalleled, the way it glides through the air, trailing massive amounts of magical energy, is like a castle wall bearing down on Saber. It can't be possible to avoid or repel something like that. But something else is odd here. Ryder simply summoned Pegasus, and it has no true name of its own. To Ryder, Pegasus is a little more than, say, a favorite dagger. And that means she has yet to use her noble phantasm. Even in her dire predicament, the possibility of defeat never enters Saber's mind. Instead, she thinks her chance will come when Ryder really starts to get serious. Whatever Ryder's noble phantasm may be, it'll have no trouble destroying a building like this. She just needs to focus on defending herself, on staying alive. Then all she'll have to do is cut Ryder down as soon as an opportunity presents itself. Yes, if only her master had shown up. Oh, so it's Shio's fault. Really. I look up towards the sky. Flapping wings. I hear flapping wings. Something of paler and more blinding white than the light of the moon hovers over me. It is a legendary mystic I've only heard about in myth.